Coming up, Parliamentary ad hoc committee probing vote of censure allegations against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta starts public hearings. The 8th billion child in the world has been born in Ghana today. NASA's Galamsey economic documentary was premiered yesterday, and we play back some scenes from how it was patronized. In politics, Fifi Kwetey today launched his campaign for the NDC General Secretary position. The Director of Elections at the EC has said the revocation of the licenses of 17 political parties was not witch hunt. And Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Eric Bossman Asare, proposes that elections should close at 3 p.m. The Parliamentary ad hoc committee probing the vote of censure allegations against the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta started its public hearing today. It started with the initiator of the motion of censure, Haruna Idrisu, presenting his evidence before the committee.
Supporting Mr. Haruna Idrisu with his evidence was the Dr. Ad-hoc, ranking member of Finance Committee of Parliament. The Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta was present with a team from the Finance Ministry and his lawyer Gabi Asare.
2. We would also rely on the Minister's budget policy statement for 2022, referring him through 2021, 2019. Then we intend to, as the Honorable Ad-hoc have said, reference the staff, the International Monetary Fund Article 4 consultation staff review for 2019. The pharmaceutical industry is complaining because it affects their imports and they are made to pay more. The depreciation of the cedi has affected even Makola women who cannot trade effectively because they've had to lose. And lose because this is a consequence of their borrowing. Also, you now have what we call, as we reference Bank of Ghana Act. The Bank of Ghana has exceeded its emergency support and financing for government for 2019.
Meanwhile, the start of the committee's hearings today was held up because of a clash over the mode of tendering evidence to the committee. Even before being sworn in, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu said minority spokesperson on finance Kesel Atuforsen, who were the first to appear before the committee, had wanted to utilize evidence in a manner that was contested.
Mr. Ofori-Atta, prior to the hearing, had written requesting full particulars of the allegations against him in the minority's motion. While the committee's clerk said he had not received the formal record of the evidence from the minority, Mr. Forsen said he had sent the notice of evidence via hyperlinks because the clerk's notice to him had come in a letter sent via WhatsApp.
So all we are asking for are two things. You can give us a whole list of the documents which we don't have physically, but that list will lead to an expedition which is wide, particularly when we have 1 week here. So I think that the first part of our request, which is full particulars of the facts in support of each of the allegations contained in the letter, must be first adhered to. Because, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the first charge, if I may, it says despicable conflict of interest, ensuring that he directly benefits from Ghana's economic woes as his companies receive commissions and other unethical contractual advantage, particularly from Ghana's debt overhang. This is wide.
It had been projected that the 8th billion child in the world was going to be born today. Following the monitoring globally, that child, who added to the world's population for us to reach 8 billion, was born in Ghana today at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, commonly known as Ridge Hospital.
Interestingly, Stella Digbe, the 27-year-old mother of the 8 billion child, had experienced 3 failed pregnancies, and this was her 4th attempt. The child has been celebrated as the baby that symbolically marks the 8th billionth member of the world's population. The baby girl was born at 5 minutes past midnight. The global population was projected to reach 8 billion today, according to the World Population Prospects 2022, released by the United Nations Department of Economics and Social Affairs. The symbolic ceremony was organized jointly by the Ghana Statistical Service, the Ghana Health Service, the National Population Council, the Regional Institute for Population Studies, and the National Development Planning Commission, with support from the United Nations Population Fund. At a brief ceremony at the maternity ward of the Ridge Hospital, the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobnainim, said it was time for the country to take advantage of the symbolic commemoration to discuss how to make the country a statistics-driven nation. He said the ceremony was not only to celebrate the baby, but also to draw the attention of the policymakers, stakeholders, and individuals to think more deeply about the country's population characteristics. Yes, we have celebrated the life of the baby in Ghana that symbolically marks the global population hitting 8 billion. But our focus is on how do we revise our 2021 population and housing census? What are the key issues and how do we reflect on it as a country to ensure that the sustainable development goals that seeks not to leave anyone behind is achieved, Dr. Enim said.
Anas Arimiyao Anas yesterday premiered his latest expose, Galamsey documentary at the Accra International Conference Center. Will bring you a playback of some of the scenes of how the premiere was patronized.
Excerpts of the documentary seen by Graphic Online indicated that when the supposed investor approached Mr. Dubois in an unnamed hotel room, he asked what he could offer the vice president. Just before discussions, the investor spread bundles of US dollars on a table in front of him and told him to use them for shopping. Mr. Dubois was then seen bagging the dollars into a black polythene bag, handed him by the supposed business tycoon. He supposedly agreed to demands of the business tycoon to introduce the supposed sheikh to President Akufo-Addo and the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. In response to the question of what an investor must do to get the ears of the Vice President, the Minister of State said an investor must consider opportunities for the siblings of the Vice President for his full support, apart from the $200,000 appearance fee taken to him.
In politics, Fifi Kwetey today launched his campaign for the General Secretary position of the opposition National Democratic Congress.
One thing I can promise is that we want to stand on the shoulders of the work that has been done by the current General Secretary in order to take this party to the next level. That level means, for example, this party has to become increasingly more data-driven. So, for instance, I should be at the party headquarters right here and be able to real-time know what is happening in Beno Clinic, which is my own branch in Ketu South in Aplawa. We should be able to know what are ways in which we can increase our vote in different places. You know, this thing is not the days where people thought the leadership is all about chobo hey. Those days are long gone. You understand? It's a scientific age to be able to understand what is going on, have a comprehensive understanding, and draw solutions. You understand? In terms of the youth in particular, I can tell you my greatest passion is how to find ways in which we can unleash the creativity of young people. I believe this party has got millions of young people who have very creative solutions. I say that because having been in position as a communication person of this party, some of the people who gave me some of the greatest satisfaction were young people I work with.
Still in politics, the director of the Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Srebo Kwako, has said the decision by the Commission to enforce the political parties' law is not to witch hunt but to ensure compliance. After tolerating the political parties for over 30 years now, I think those who want to grow must mature now. That is why we are applying the law, he said.
Dr. Kwaku said Ghana had practiced multi-party democracy for the past 30 years and therefore all political parties must meet the conditions under the law to make them functional. He was speaking in an interview with Graphic following the revocation of the registration certificates of 17 political parties that had no national and regional offices as required by the law.
And before we go, the Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Eric Bossman Asare, has proposed that elections should close at 3 p.m.
Dr. Bossman Asare said the 2024 polls, for instance, can't close at 3 p.m. so as to help prevent electoral violence and ensure that elections are declared on time before darkness sets in. He said in most cases, violence that occurred in previous elections happened in the dark after 5 p.m., hence the proposal to change the closing time to 3 p.m. He has therefore urged all stakeholders, particularly the political parties, to embrace the proposal in order to strengthen the country's electoral system. He was speaking at a multi-stakeholder session to strengthen partnership for the prevention of conflict and violence in elections in Ghana today.
Thank you for watching. For more news, please visit our website graphic.com.gh or follow us on Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube and Twitter at GraphicGH. I am Juliet Echan Safo.
Subscribe now.